The commander of Iran's Islamic Revolution Guards Corps says Israel's hostile policies will eventually lead it toward waging a war against Iran. He says any such attack could spell the end of the Zionist regime, as Iran is fully prepared to repel, quote, any insane move by Israel. A day before the IRGC commander's remarks, President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who was speaking on the opening day of Iran's Defense Week, said the Zionists are seeking to create crises in the world. Apart from threats of military action against Iran, many believe Israel is behind the production of the anti-Islam film that was produced in the United States and sparked global anti-U.S. protests. U.S. media reports show 100 Zionists paid for the production of the blasphemous movie that led to the killing of the U.S. ambassador to Libya. Scores of protesters have also died in protests that followed the broadcast of parts of the movie on YouTube, as Google refused to remove the film. Israel once again managed to pit Muslims against Christians and Christians against Muslims.
So far, the American, they provided Israel with a lot of support, with a lot of weapons. But my estimate and the reports that we have been reading, they haven't supported them with the aircraft necessary to launch an attack or the ammunition that will be used in any attack. I think the statement that's coming from the Americans, especially from the Chief of Staff, Mr. Dempsey, General Dempsey, he was very clear when he indicated to the Israeli, you cannot launch an attack by yourself. So any attack against Iran, it has to have the approval and the blessing of the United States. Otherwise, will not happen. So if such an attack ever happen, it is the United States who's going to be behind it, and it's the United States who's going to be responsible for it. And I think at this point, at this juncture of history, I think the United States trying to downsize its position in the Middle East.
The United States has had to pay a high price for its support of Tel Aviv in the past 6 decades. The U.S. government has lost its credibility because of its unequivocal backing for Israel against the Palestinian people. The U.S. supported Israel's war against Lebanon and the Gaza Strip. However, the United States has refused to back an Israeli war against Iran. That's made many wonder whether it's a PR move ahead of the November presidential election, or America's finally come to its senses and realized that Israel is more of a liability than an asset.